Hello everyone, welcome to a new video of the indicator store of the series Do It Yourself. And today we are starting with a new series of videos answering common questions from past videos. There's a very old video about the HMA Crossover filtered. It is in English and also in Spanish. And here we saw how to create this setup with a custom indicator and also with markers. Now we are going to review how to create this setup with Builder. But let's see first what is Builder. Builder is a module that is included with NinjaTrader that allows to create a strategy without knowing how to program. More or less what we can do with markers, but with less features. For example, we cannot use the ATM. We access to Builder from New Strategy Builder, and we get a window like this. Here we can select and edit one of the current strategies or create a new one. We choose a name, for example, with HMA Crossover. We cannot use spaces. Filtered, crossover filtered. If we have something with that name, we get an error. We are going to work at bar close. On this section, we select if we want to use a second time frame or also a second instrument. And here we can select if we are going to use data series. This is a little more advanced. We are going to review this on following videos. We also have variables on the following section, but here we select additional instrument and time frames and data series. And now the most important section is the parameters. The parameters that we want that the user can change, and also that strategy analyzer, a very important module, can optimize. With strategy analyzer, we can test a lot of combinations of parameters to find the best working solution. Let's see how this setup works. The name is HMA Crossover, but if you review that old video, here we are checking the cross of an HMA against a shadow of the same line. The HMA has the good feature that it is very smooth. Let's choose an HMA, for example, of 50. And here we can see it is very smooth, and we can make it even more fast, making the period, for example, 17. And the signals for this setup are the places where the trend changes from positive to negative and vice versa. These are the places where we have an HMA crossover signal, because it is the crossover of the HMA with itself, but displays one or more bars. For more info, you can review the old video. Now let's see how we can create the signals. But first, let me make this smoother or slower. For example, 34. So we have one signal, a short, a long, and a short here. And we saw that the way to detect those places, the inflection points, is if we look this with more detail. And let me change the line by dots so we can see more precisely the value for each bar of the HMA. How can we find this place? And the signal can be detected here on this bar, because this is the only place where the HMA is below the previous bar, but it was previously higher than 1 bar ago. So now it is below, but previously it was above. So the HMA on the current bar is below the HMA 1 bar ago, and the HMA 1 bar ago is higher than the HMA 2 bars ago. We can write this here this way, but first we need the parameters. But which are the parameters? Usually we have a target, we have also a stop. We usually set the parameters to the values that we want to change, and I want to be able to change the target, the stop, and also the period. The period on this case is 34, but I want the user to be able to change it. And also Strategy Analyzer can optimize it. Now on the following section we can add as many tabs as we want. Each tab has a series of conditions, and if they are true we can execute a series of actions. Let's start with only one tab. And the conditions are what I was mentioning before. The current HMA is below the previous HMA. So if all the following conditions are true, for example, the indicator HMA or any indicator that you have installed on your platform. HMA, where is that? Here. The HMA, it has only one parameter, and we can select, instead of writing a number, so it gets fixed, we can click on set and select an input parameter. So the user can change it, and also Strategy Analyzer can optimize it. And also we can add an offset, but we don't need an offset. And also how many bars ago. But we are talking about the current bar. So the HMA on the current bar, and some indicator has more than one plot. This has only one, so there is no plot selection here. A Bollinger, for example, has 3 plots, but the HMA has only one line to select. So we want that this, which is this dot, is less than the exact same indicator, so we must write all again HMA period, the same period, because this is the same indicator, but 1 bar ago, this one. And that's all. We don't need to add offset anything. So the HMA now is below HMA 1 bar ago. But also this HMA is higher. So I can copy and paste and replace the 0 by the 1 and the 1 by the 2. Displays the logic 1 bar ago. So the HMA 1 bar ago, this one, is higher than the HMA 2 bars ago. Greater 2 bars ago. Okay? When those two conditions are true, we are here at the close of that bar, not at the pivot. If we want to check, we can add a signal. The easiest signal to draw is just painting the background, because we don't need to set coordinates for the signal. But this will be a short, so we can paint this in something reddish. We can compile, and just for testing, we can add the strategy to the chart. Right click, strategies, search for the strategy. The name was with HMA Crossover filtered. Not this one here. It has only 3 parameters. We set the period to 34, enable, OK. And we can see that it is painting this bar and also this one. You may say, why? If we make a zoom here, we can verify that it is correct because this is a pivot on the HMA. So here we have a short signal for this HMA. Let's make it something more faster. I am going to increase the size of the dots so they are more easily to view. Let's decrease this to 17. So this is very fast. Now the signal is here. Let's change the strategy to the same parameters. We need to disable the strategy to change the parameters. Change the period to 17 and enable again. And now we can see that we have more signals. Now for the longs, we can do a copy and paste. We can add another tab or duplicate this one. Right click, duplicate, and just invert the logic because this is exactly how the HMA here is greater than the HMA 1 bar ago. So we only need to invert the or replace the less by greater. And 1 bar ago, this dot is lower than the HMA 2 bars ago, so less. So I just inverted the logic. And this is a long signal, so we can paint this in blue, compile and refresh. To refresh, we can disable and enable. And now we can see that we have long and short signals. Here we have a short and a long signal too close one each other, but this is correct because this is a really fast and noisy line. We can see that here we have a high pivot, but also we have a low pivot. So here we have a short and here a long. But we are missing the filter. The filter on that old video was a linear regression. We explained also how to use a different line on that video. This black line that we can see here on the custom indicator is a linear regression. And this is what is doing currently the custom indicator. So that means that we are going to need another input parameter to define the period of that line. Today, if I wanted to create this strategy again, I will be using something different, maybe an HMA. But let's continue with the logic. This linear regression, when it is going down, we should be taking only short. So this short is okay, but not this long, because the black line is going down. So this should not be executed. And here, when the line is going to the upside, we should be taking only the longs and ignoring the shorts. How can we do that with the linear regression or any other line? For example, I was mentioning today I will be using a slow HMA because it is smoother than the linear regression. Let's try with an HMA with 150 for the period so we can compare. And here we can see it is smoother, but also it has a bigger delay too. But we can decrease the period, maybe 100. So we can see that they are more or less the same, changing the slope on the same place. But if you pay attention here, you can see that the noise is lower on the HMA than on the linear regression. Here, for example, it will be possible to enable the shorts, and that will be a mistake. Anyway, you can define which line to use as a filter. For this example, let's continue with the original setup using a linear regression. So now we need another period, the period that defines the slope of the filter line, linear regression, HMA, whatever. So we add a new parameter, the period for the filter. On this case, it is 83. And now on the code to add the filter, we can use the same logic that we used before. When the line is going up, it means we can use the same concept. Now it is greater than 1 bar ago, it means it is going up. So to enable the longs, we add another condition that the indicator that I choose for the filter, linear regression, for example, with the period that I just defined, period filter, is greater than the exact same thing 1 bar ago. Linear regression, period filter, but 1 bar ago. So linear regression current bar is greater than linear regression 1 bar ago. It is going up. And for the shorts, the filter is the same but in the other direction. So we can select and copy with right click copy. And here we can paste and invert the logic. Instead of greater, less. Just for checking, we can compile and refresh. Disable, enable, and well, it is inverted because the first tab was shorts. It is painting in pink. So I placed the filter in the opposite direction, no problem. We can invert the filter instead of greater less. And here for the longs, it is greater. Compile, refresh. And now we have the correct signal. This long is not executed, but the short is correctly detected. No long, no short, and this is the first long executed. When we apply a filter, always the first best signal is not executed because the filter has a delay. So it always happens when the filter is in agreement, the first signal is gone. Then we need to decide if executing all the following signals or just the first two, or a certain number of consecutive signals. So we just have it completed. We only need to add orders where we paint in pink, we enter short, where we paint in blue, we add and enter long. And now that we placed orders, on the following section, we add targets and stops. A target in ticks defined by the input parameter target. The same for the stop. A stop in ticks defined by the input parameter stop. Okay. Compile. And now the only difference is that it is going to execute orders. Refresh. And now we can see that it is placing orders. If you are not saying orders, maybe it is not showing them. So we can go to right click, data series, and the last option at the bottom, it should be showing the plot executions. If not, they are executed but not painted. Now the performance of this is relative to the combination of parameters, target stops, the instrument, the time frame. We need to optimize that. Maybe on another video we review how to use strategy analyzer to optimize this. Hope this video has been useful, and if you are interested in this kind of topics, we are doing a training on Spanish and also in English. The training includes more than 2 years of training sessions with the corresponding videos, strategies, indicators, templates, and also live sessions all Fridays. For more info, contact me on the chat room. The instructions are on the description of this video. Thank you. Bye bye.